Boo! Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Red River Roundup Friday edition. Happy Halloween. I'm your host, Marshall Leffler, and we are getting ready for week 9 of Friday Night Lights here in the state of Louisiana. Had a lot of big games again last night, as has been the case all season. So we'll get you caught up on some of the top Thursday scores from around the state. And then I'm going to get out of the way again because we've got 3 good conversations coming up for you. We'll talk to head coach of the LCA Knights, Matt Standiford. They got a big win last night over Evangel. Coach Rodney Guin with the Calvary Cavaliers will join us as they get another district win over Green Oaks last night, continue their long district streak. And then we have a really special conversation that we recorded earlier in the week with 2 guys from the Loyola College Prep Flyers, undefeated so far, and a big matchup with LCP and North Desoto tonight in Stonewall. It'll be a home game for the Griffins. Bryce, Restovich, and Ty Walsworth joined us earlier this week for a conversation about their season, about their relationship as not only teammates but stepbrothers as well, and just their approach to football. Really impressive conversation with those 2 guys, and we'll bring that one to you here at the end of the show. To get you caught up on some scores from around the state that took place last night. Parkway gets another win. They continue their really successful season, 58-42 over Benton. Captain Shreve has picked up a few wins here in the latter part of the regular season, 65-44 over Houghton. We mentioned Calvary, 38-20 over Green Oaks. Natchitoches Central, 33, Huntington, 14. Northwood, 42-0 over Minden. Northwood's in that same district with North DeSoto and LCP, and the Flyers and Falcons will meet up in week 10. Jonesboro Hodge, they moved to 6-2 with an 18-14 win over Glenbrook. Nice to see the Tigers get back to their winning ways. Gina, 46-6 over Caldwell. Gina's got a road game at Buckeye next week, and we'll see if they can hold on to the top seed in non-select Division 3, but they get a win last night as well. Richwood, 36, Bastrop, 6. Hamilton Christian, 54, Maryville, 6. The Warriors continue to stay undefeated in the regular season. Jennings, 34, St. Louis, 24. Jennings, another team in that Southwest Louisiana region that is really off to a really good start and should be a factor in the playoffs. Catholic of Point Capay, 36, Sacred Heart, 24. Catholic New Iberia, the defending champs, 55, West St. Mary's, 6. The Panthers continue their defense of select Division 3. Lafayette, the Mighty Lions, 42-0 over New Iberia. They get to 5 wins, which is how many they won last year. They can get to 6-4 with a win in week 10. Southside puts up 70 over Karen Crow. The Sharks pass the Golden Bears 70-35, and Erath all over the Kaplan Pirates 50-8. Jules Sumner, they get a shutout win, 42-0. Ascension Catholic, 72-21, another win for them as well. East Ascension, they bounce back with a 30-28 victory over Dutchtown. Catholic wins again, Central wins again, Southern Lab wins again, Dunham wins again, and Bruley all win again. They all continue to be leaders in the Baton Rouge area. Kentwood gets a nice 54-0 shutout win as they continue through their regular season. North Iberville, really hot start. They get a win 40-8 over East Iberville. Denham Springs also win over Walker. Probably one of the biggest games as far as the biggest schools, Slidell with a huge overtime win, 36-28 over Chalmette. Pine 65, Bogalusa 16, Thibodaux 27, Terrebonne 21, Lutcher 53, Morgan City 8. So we see just so many Thursday night games, some of that having to do with a holiday, I'm sure, but that's just been a trend this season, is big games that mean a lot that have taken place on Thursday night. One of the biggest last night, and it may have been the biggest, and it had one of the biggest finishes you could ask for. Lafayette Christian, 24-22 over the Evangel Eagles. That game was at LCA, and we are lucky enough to be able to recap that game with the head coach of the LCA Knights, Matt Standiford. Lafayette Christian head football coach, Matt Standiford. And Coach Standiford, that was just a one for the ages last night, one that a lot of people around the state got to watch and got to see through y'all's production crew there on campus. But 24-22, got a field goal late. It was kind of the go ahead, and just an amazing play there at the end of the game in the last play for your defense in that game. But take us through last night. Just a really good one under Thursday Night Lights.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is, if you would have told me, man, you're going to hold them to 22, I'd have thought, man, we'd have put it on them. And if you just said, man, they're going to hold you to 24, and I thought, man, they might have put it on us. But, we were fortunate enough to come out on top. And I love the fact that we won on a field goal. It's not something that we're accustomed to doing, but we did kick one last week. And our kicker, Jude Fairchild, Cameron Roberts, our holder, and the whole team have done a really excellent job. We in practice with that 2 or 3 times a week. And so I was fortunate enough to come out on top. But, that Evangel's got a great squad. I will not be surprised if they make it, quarters, semis, even all the way. Pop's a phenomenal quarterback, and just really fortunate we came out on top last night.
Yeah, so going back to that really the last play for your defense, where you got Draylon August and Luke Green combining just to get Peyton Houston literally at the 1-inch line. I know that's something that you love to see as a coach, but how do you take that play and turn it into a lesson about not giving up? Because for those of us watching, it seemed like number one was headed for the end zone there.
Yeah, so and that's one thing that Pop did well all night, was avoiding. He hard to get him down in the backfield, and he eluded a couple guys chasing him. And man, when we talk about going down to the wire, going down to the last inch, all the little things matter, and I think it showed last night. Luke and Draylon make a heck of a play, and also for Davian Baptiste to be there right around the football to recover it in the end zone, because number 4, one of their receivers, was right there. That's got to be one of the best finishes I've ever been a part of.
And sticking with the defensive side of the ball, last year in this matchup, of course, that was in Shreveport last year. Evangel had kind of a more typical game, at least as far as scoring goes. What did you like from your defense, and as far as preparing for that offense, executing on Thursday night and finishing the way they did? What was the strategy? What do you think worked, and what do you think you can carry forward?
Well, I'll start with this. Our defense coordinator, Mitch Kraft, is phenomenal. We've seen it week in and week out, especially over the last couple of weeks. We've held some really good offenses down, and last night might have been the cherry on top. To hold a team like Evangel, who scored 56 on us last year, to hold them to 3 touchdowns, and 2 of them really kind of being just crazy plays. They ran the little reverse early on, where Johnny had the long touchdown. We were just a little bit out of position up front. And then the next one where Pop breaks the 70-yard touchdown run, we had 3 or 4 chances to tackle him in the backfield. And he just made a great play. And that's what great players do, but our defense executed. We allowed 1 touchdown in the entire second half. And anytime you do that against an offense like that, I think it speaks volumes about how the kids were locked in. We were fortunate. Our offense coordinator played quarterback at Nichols as a dual threat. So he played Pop the whole week in practice. And so it gave our defense a really good look, and just really able to, hone in on the X's and O's as far as the specifics. Our defensive coaches do a great job breaking it down every week. We dive into the film, and so we had a good game plan going forward, and our kids went out there and executed.
What a great card to have a dual threat QB there and on your coaching staff that can help you prepare. And looking at this offense, 24 was enough. Again, you got the late field goal out of your special teams unit, which again was huge. But in a game like that, where you might find out by halftime, okay, this isn't necessarily going to be a shootout. It may not be touchdown every single possession going back and forth like some Evangel games are. Were you pleased with the offense to be able to kind of have quality possessions when you needed them to keep it a 1-possession game for most of the contest?
I was, and here's why. We talked about all week being able to control the clock, dictate the tempo, and that didn't necessarily mean holding and stalling. But if you look at the time of possession last night, it was 30 minutes to 18 minutes. And so anytime you could keep an offense like that off the field, I feel like you're doing a good job. And so we had a couple drives where it was long, extended. Especially in the first half, we did a good job executing. And I'll tell you that the drive that was really good for us was there was two of them specifically. One right before half, we took over with 5:43 on the clock. We gave them the ball with 41 seconds left after we failed to score. And then there was one in the second half, the one that we kicked the field goal on. We drive the length of the field, get backed up with a couple of penalties, and then we get a couple of penalties to go our way and then kick the field goal. And so we really just dictated how the game went. There's a tough one. They called a backwards pass on one of our screens. And if we don't get that, we probably end up scoring that drive. And so I don't think 24 points was indicative of how well our offense really played.
Was that time of possession battle something that y'all gave a lot of thought to during the short week, or is that just kind of the way that the game played out?
A little bit of both. It's one thing. We don't sit there and say, hey, we got to have 30 minutes. We just want to have long, extended drives, especially if our defense gives up a touchdown or something crazy like that. We want to make sure we give them enough time to get on the board and execute. And we have a really good running game, with Walker and Bellard in the backfield. They're dangerous. We have some weapons on the outside. And we were able to mix and match and do some different things, put some guys in different positions. You saw Braden Allen last night. He wasn't just out wide. He lined up in the slot, motioned him, trying to get him some mismatches, and that was able to help us keep control of the clock. And that's one thing we talk about. Sometimes we'll go fast, sometimes we'll slow it down a little bit, but we want to make sure the game's played at our pace and our speed.
Yeah, I did notice Braden Allen really make some great moves in space when he was able to do so. With a week like this, short week, prepping for a 5A powerhouse. Now you got a long week to wrap up week 10 and try to get another district win and finish strong. What's the mentality in that locker room to take everything that you wanted to take from this win, but also say, hey guys, look, that one's over. We got it. We were supposed to get it. Now we got to get one more district win and some more once we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, so to top it all off, it's also homecoming week. So we got a lot of extra distractions. But our kids have really handled that really well this year. If you look back all the way from the beginning, Rummel was a big one, then Karen Crow. And so it just kept going on. And I think it really helped prepare us for this. And the great thing is us coming into school today, we're going to watch film, we're going to lift, we're going to run, we're going to get prepared, and then kids will get Saturday, Sunday off, and then Monday is back to work on Lake Arthur. And that way they can kind of, decompress a little bit, because there's a lot that runs through 16, 17-year-olds' mind, especially after a game like last night with the emotions going up and down. But ultimately, our kids know what the big goal is, and that's just to win the next game, and Lake Arthur happens to be our next opponent, so they're going to get everything that we got.
You mentioned some of those early season games, Rummel, Karen Crow, matchups like that. From our perspective, from those of us on the outside that aren't in this program every day, it was some surprising. It was really the Knights kind of taking notice again around the state of people looking at these scores and saying, wow, look what LCA did early on in the season. I'm sure that's not a surprise to you and your staff, because you know what kind of program that y'all intended to have going back to the summer. But what have you learned about your team through a lot of these really quality non-district matchups between, training camp and now, that kind of informs your mindset of where this team fits in Select Division III once the postseason starts?
Yeah, so I actually got to backtrack to February of 2024. When we made the schedule, and we were in a spot where, there was a lot of teams that really didn't want to play us. We were coming off our 7th straight state championship appearance. And we were also late to the game, with the coaching change and all that, as far as getting teams. And so we were really, hands were in a bind. People were like, man, why'd you schedule that tough? And I'm like, well, you got to find teams to play. You can't take buys. And so last year, if you go back and look, we lost to Rummel by 7. Sean Westgate put it on us, lost to Central by 1 possession, lost to Evangel in a close one, lost to Notre Dame in a close one. And the difference is this year, starting all the way back from December 1st, our kids are used to playing in the Dome, and the difference is they had to start working out. They had to start lifting and start getting stronger. And our 13 seniors have been phenomenal. Couldn't ask for better leadership from them. There was a point in the Karen Crow game at halftime, I brought Braylon and Luke together. and just talking about it. And they called each other out on some stuff that they saw and looked at me and they said, "Don't worry, coach, we got it handled." And I didn't even have to address the team in some of those areas. And so just being able to see big picture for both of them, understand that, hey, like this is a small, minute thing that we can fix and is going to benefit us later down the road. And that's exactly what they've done. You know, we hang our hat on the fact that we will play anybody anywhere. And I think you can see that with our schedule. I mean, we'll travel to New Orleans, we'll go to Shreveport, it don't matter. And it's been truly rewarding for us to be 8-1 right now, headed into week 10.
And you've got had some visitors there on campus today, and these are the kind of exciting things that that get to come to your program when you get to put the state on notice like that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You know, it's one thing since I stepped foot on campus 6 years ago, you know, Sage Ryan was a senior. So got to see LSU and Alabama and all those schools come by. And then 2 years later, you have Jordan Allen and Fitzgerald West and Brylan Green. And so got to meet Hugh Freeze and all these different guys. And even with Jawan and them a couple years ago. And so it's been something really cool to see. And I think the kids take pride in it. They want those guys to keep coming by. You know, and it says a lot about them, but also they realize when those coaches come to see them, they're also coming to see their younger brothers. And that was one thing that I find has been really, really cool. You know, Tulane came by to talk to Braden when he was committed there, and then talk with Caden Bellard, our running back, because they really like him. So just the opportunity that presents not only them, but everybody else is really, really cool.
Well, it seems like the 2025 season so far looks like a lot of LCA seasons have looked here in the recent past, as you mentioned. And, you know, the news, you know, the word coming out of this program whenever you took over that head spot was a lot of people with a lot of faith in you and a lot of optimism about how you would continue to steward that program and lead the young men and also get some wins while you're at it. So, a great job to you, Coach Standiford, and your staff and all the night program that have been able to have a really successful 2025 season so far. And hopefully, like we mentioned, you've got a few more weeks of quality football games ahead of you.
Yes, sir. No, I definitely appreciate that. You know, it's to be in this position is a blessing. You know, thank God every day for it. You know, no place else I'd rather be. And it's really, I mean, it makes my job easy when I get to work with the coaches that I'm working with, the players that I get to coach every day. They make my life better and they push me to be better.
The Knights of Lafayette Christian Academy, 8-1 through 9 weeks in the regular season. They got a game against Lake Arthur to wrap up the regular season at home, and then they'll see where they fit in Select Division III and looking to make another run as the Lafayette Christian Knights. Coach Jennifer, we thank you so much for your time this morning. Hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate Coach Chop spending some time with us to recap last night's game. And we'll jump right here and hear from Coach Guin, Calvary Baptist Academy. Coach of the Calvary Baptist Cavaliers, Coach Rodney Guin. Coach Guin, thanks for being with us today. And had another district battle against Green Oaks last night. Got a win and continued the streak there. Closer point differential than some of the other district games that you've played so far this season. But nice to get another district win, stay undefeated in district, and move to 8-1.
Yeah, nice to get a win. We didn't play really, really well last night, but you know, it's good to win, and but they gave us a few things to work on to correct.
It kind of looking into that a little bit further. You know, the talk from outside Calvary is that district win streak that's gone back several seasons now. You know, as y'all have changed districts, and district play has changed over the years with the PowerPoint or with regional rivalries, things like that. But as you've gone through all these district games throughout the years, what's the key way to motivate guys to either keep that streak going or just to show that in your area, in your class, that y'all are the best? But how do you motivate guys for those district games as you prep for the playoffs?
Well, it's hard sometimes, you know, because years and years of, you know, you beat the same team over and over and over again, and you know, it's hard to get them up. Like last night, we didn't play well at all, and you know, Green Oaks came out and played really, really well, and they made a game of it. And so, you know, we just have to try to get them to understand the big picture of what we're playing for, and that we have to get better every week, regardless of who we play. And, adding Union in our district, at least, that's helped a little bit with a game that we know what we're getting with them every year. So, but yeah, it's tough. It is tough sometimes.
Looking at also this year's team, last year made it to the semifinals and lost a close game to the eventual state champion and replaced a lot of the skill position players that get a lot of notoriety, Abram Wardell and Simon and players like that. But with Zarian Miles and Hudson Price, Braylon Huglon and Trey McDaniel this year kind of really stepping up and taking the place, have you been particularly pleased with how they've developed through the regular season as they now have a turn to make a playoff run, being those top skill guys?
Yeah, they've gotten better every week, and our quarterback play's got to get better. We got to get better there. Huddy's a sophomore, so he hasn't played a whole lot, and but we got to get better there. But Huglon's a great football player, and and Trey McDaniels, Ryan's having a good year. He'll have 1,000 yards rushing, I think, by the end of the year. And all those guys are underclassmen too. This is really the first year a lot of them have played, and so yeah, we're pleased with them. But like I said, we got to get better offensively, be more consistent.
What have you seen so far in the first year starting for Hudson Price that you have liked, and what things can he get better on wrapping up the regular season and starting the postseason?
We got to get better on reading coverages and things like that. We're making some poor choices, sometimes throwing the football. But he's done well. He's running the football pretty good for us. We've added some quarterback run stuff in for him. And, again, it's your first year playing quarterback, and our offense is kind of complicated. And so, we expected some growing pains, and but he's getting better every week.
Game I got to watch live of y'all this season, saw a lot of big plays on defense, got a fumble recovery early on and returned that for a score. Had a 101-yard interception return for Luke Miller, one of your defenders. What have you liked throughout your defense throughout this district slate so far that makes you feel that once these cold weather games start to set in and maybe the point scores go down a little bit, that your defense is up for the task in the postseason?
Well, we've been very good against the run, and that's important during the playoffs. Because like you said, the weather's going to get bad. It's going to be some rainy nights, and people are going to try to run the football. And we've played well against the run all year. Struggled against the pass last night a little bit with some guys we didn't cover well. But, again, last night they couldn't run the ball. So, we can play the run well. I think it helps us in the playoffs because at the end of the day, if you can't stop the run game in the playoffs, you're not going to win. And because that's what's going to get you beat.
Got final home game of the regular season was last night. You'll wrap up the regular season on the road at North Caddo, and then hopefully be able to host some playoff games again like you did last season. If some of those playoff matchups, like we mentioned, ended up in the semifinals last year, what will be kind of looking beyond into the postseason? I know you have Week 10, but what will be the main thing to make 2025 go 2 rounds further than 2024 did?
Like I said, we got to get more consistent offensively. We play well in spurts and bad in spurts, and if you have a bad half in a playoff game, you're probably not going to win. You got to be consistent all game long, and so we got to build that over the next few weeks. And like I said, we've done well. We're still not where we need to be to make a deep playoff run, I don't think.
Well, Coach, again, a 3 seed last year, and we're not sure where all those power ratings will shake out. We still got a lot more games to play, but looks like y'all will be another major factor in D3 Select again, and hopefully, like we said, can go a few more rounds. So, Coach Guin, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and we'll be keeping an eye on the Cavaliers for the rest of the season.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate Coach Guin spending some time with us after their win last night against Green Oaks. And now we're going to play for you an interview that we recorded earlier this week with Bryce Restovich and Ty Walsworth, quarterback and wide receiver for the LCP Flyers. They got a big game tonight at North Desoto, like we mentioned. So we'll hear from those guys now. Take a look. We are thrilled to bring on quarterback and wide receiver for the undefeated 8-0 Loyola College Prep Flyers, Bryce Restovich and Ty Walsworth. And guys, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today. I know that it's been, a super successful season for y'all, both statistically and also, coming into week 9 undefeated, going into this matchup against North Desoto. Bryce, I'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about, this being kind of your third year, getting big time snaps at the varsity level and being really a veteran in your junior year. What have you seen that's worked for you this year that is, that has brought y'all success on the scoreboard, success in the locker room, and just what's helped y'all grow as a team to where y'all feel like y'all are set up to make a run here?
Yes, sir. I believe it's our focus outside of the workouts and practice and stuff like that. And every guy wants to get better. So it's a big part of everybody taking it serious and not just, going through the motions or going through just reps. And our line has been amazing. So they all take their position very seriously. And we have 4 seniors up there, so they're all wanting to have a great senior season. So it helps me and Mason in the backfield.
Yeah, it's great because, it takes a lot of pressure off of just you. And so, defenses start having to worry about all 4 of us, not just one. And all of our receivers don't settle for just okay. They all want to be great. So we're getting better every week. So that's what I think is great about it.
Looking at this coaching staff, I know, Bryce, you go back a few years with head coach John Sella. What's talking to him a few weeks ago, he actually compared himself a lot to you and said that y'all kind of carry yourselves the same way. May not always be the most vocal or most talkative all the time, but still just trying to be leaders with the example that you set. Do you agree that he kind of sees a lot of himself in you, and what's y'all's relationship been like throughout these years?
Yeah, 100%. We're both kind of quiet. Like I'm not as quiet with people I'm close to, but outside of it, I'm more quiet and trying to stay focused like he is. And he knows that every practice it's strictly business. And our relationship's been great. I've been with him since my freshman year. He's helped me through a lot and just taught me a lot about the game and certain situations, certain reads, developed me as a quarterback pretty well. And yeah, I mean we're pretty tight. I've been getting really close with him this year, especially because our passing game has been really well. So yeah, that's the main thing is we're close, so it definitely pays off in the games.
You like the way that schedule stacks up toward the end, to where you got some teams that are probably going to have winning records when you get to them late in the year?
Yes, sir. Just because I know it makes the games more fun, and I like playing in high intensity games and more under pressure. I like it, and it's more fun for me. It's more fun for the guys around us. It's really fun for our coaches because it gives them an idea of how we can compete with better teams. So that's pretty fun, and knowing that North Desoto is a great team, it's going to be a dogfight, and it's very exciting to look forward to.
I think no matter what happens, first off, we're going to have to stay in the game, and everybody loves playing in that type of environment. And so I think we're going to go in there with a strong mentality at first because, that's the game we want. And so all of our receivers are going to go into it looking good. So it should be good.
And Bryce, and again, you've done this before, but anything extra different knowing that there's 2 QBs, one a senior, one a junior, but 2 quarterbacks that are known as being top guys in your part of the state?
No, sir. Honestly, it's fun to compete with them and stuff, but I mainly focus on myself and trying to better myself and not let all the attention they get to me, because they work hard for it. So I'm going to do the exact same, and knowing that I'm in a conversation with those guys is honoring, and it's pretty neat.
What's it been like? And I'm sure this isn't the first time you've been asked that, but what's it like just being able to spend weeks together practicing, but also, spend time personally, growing through these years together as well?
Awesome. It's kind of fun, honestly, because it's kind of like having a sleepover with your friend every night, and it's been fun. It's been like that since we were little, and we understand each other pretty well because we've known each other a long time. We've also played football with each other for a while and basketball and other sports, so our relationship's pretty close, and just being able to share it on the field is pretty unique and something I'll always cherish. So.
Yeah. So put aside sports, just bonding, together throughout. I mean, I think we met when we were like 8 or something. So, you know, doing that through the years and then sports and everything and just that bond together. Now it's just grown up and now we're in high school and it's playing a part of our role every day.
What do you think is most important for y'all Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to try to prepare for this game in particular this week?
I think just don't let anything get to our head. We got to stay focused and locked in all week and don't put anything past them because, you know, they're a great team, all due respect to them. So we just need to lock in all week and focus and give it all in practice. And then when it comes time Friday, use it.
It's us against ourselves. They're a great team, and we know that. So it's about us and how we handle our assignments and how we go through practice, taking every rep seriously, and you know, having that mentality to stay locked in all week and know that we can't just come up and show up. We got to play our positions well and, you know, execute everything to a T because they're a great team and anything can happen. So we know what we're capable of, and we're pretty excited to go out and perform on Halloween.
What's the playoff approach in a few weeks down the road to go further than you did in 2024?
Yeah, that's our goal is go further than 2 rounds and just we know that we're better than how we were last year and how we put out. We haven't looked too ahead to the playoffs yet because, you know, like you said, the focus is on week 9 and then the next week. So yeah, I don't know yet. Honestly, I think we can take any team and we're really talented. So yeah, we got a lot of confidence in our guys and everybody's got confidence in each other. So however the playoff bracket matches up, I believe we're going to do fine.
And Ty, that's got to be a similar approach for you as well. Just wait till the playoffs get here and then go for it.
We're just going to take it how we've been approaching every single game, you know, just from week 1, we've been locked in and playing it week by week. So when we get there, you know, I feel like we're going to be prepared and using North Desoto and Northwood. Those are going to be 2 really tough games, and that's going to prepare us for the playoffs. And when we get in that bracket, I feel like we're going to do well. So, yeah.
Well, again, man, it's been so fun to follow y'all this season, the success that you've had, and really the way that y'all approach it. I mean, the way that y'all talk about football and the way that y'all have done things this season. It's no surprise. It seems to be that's the way that things are done under Coach Sella, and y'all are a great representation of the school itself, but the football program in particular, and just the mature way you approach it and the way that y'all expect to do well because of how well you prepare. So congrats on 8 wins so far. Hopefully you can get a few more and make a run in the playoffs. And we certainly appreciate y'all's time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Bryce Restovich and Ty Walsworth, part of that offensive squad for the Loyola College Prep Flyers. Great conversation with Bryce and Ty from Loyola College Prep, and they've got quite the test tonight at North Desoto. That'll be a fantastic game to follow. If you're not at that one, you can catch plenty of games on 446 Sports. Ash will host Ouachita, another 2-5A matchup. Grant and Tioga will play in another district matchup at the 4A level. Menard goes to Church Point. St. Mary's is in action. Buckeye is in district action as well. So you can check out, follow 446 Sports for some live football tonight. Or if you're at a game or whatever you're doing, hope you enjoy Friday Night Lights, trick-or-treating with the family or whatever you're doing. Be sure to check in back with us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll recap everything that happened on this week and everything that happened in week 9 as we are sprinting towards the postseason. Regular season will be here and the playoffs will be here before you know it. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. for the Red River Roundup. And this has been the Friday edition of the Red River Roundup. I'm your host, Marshall Leffler, and we're right here on 446 Sports.